Hi, I'm Alexandra Stevenson, and I am here to walk you through my case study for the app Balance. So Balance is a health and wellness app. It uses weekly tracking to help users develop lifestyle changes. Our main goal is to motivate and engage users to build long-lasting habits for their mental and physical well-being. So I will go over the brief summary of the app. So the reason I built an app like this was because I wanted to help individuals who are trying to make their lifestyle more health conscious and mindful. There wasn't really a place for everything all in one. The main issue here was I wanted an app for individuals to be able to do things for their mental health, do things for their physical health, both exercise and nutrition. So a couple of challenges that I knew we could come up with before building out the app was possibly users not having time for consistency. A lot of times the users don't feel confident in the way meals or exercises are set up on other applications or websites. And sometimes they don't feel like they're making progress. And so that keeps them unmotivated and they don't keep up with each task. So the main goals I had for this app was to have visual-based meals to choose from, very simple organization, simple ways to start yoga, exercise, that sort of thing, maybe quick 10-minute meditations and exercises, easy to build on meals. I wanted multiple options for all of the categories as well. I wanted to make sure that everyone felt like they could find something they needed in this app. I wanted to have multiple ways to give motivation and keep people excited on using the app. So having some kind of calendar or set of checklist to feel accomplished each day, some kind of visual of things being completed and possibly not completed. So the process we're going to go through will be our user research, get into initial designs, usability testing, and then refining our design based on our usability testing. So to begin with our user research, before I developed and started designing Balance, I conducted a few interviews with potential users to get more details about what they would want for an app like this. So I did have 4 participants. All of them had used some form of health and wellness or fitness app. So the most important findings that I took from this was all of the participants did struggle with keeping up with motivation on a regular basis. They hadn't found ways to build routines. They wanted more diversity in all of their plans. They wanted to see ways to see their progress. Things that weren't like regular dieting, calorie counting, and not unrealistic workout goals that they know inevitably don't work. So after doing this part of the user research, I was able to emerge some user personas. So these were created to ensure that Balance stayed on track to what's most important to the users. So our 2 user personas are Dan and Emma. So Dan does work a busy schedule, a beginner with learning about nutrition and mental wellness, does like to exercise but wants to build a better routine. And Emma is familiar with nutrition but lacks motivation to stay fully on track and wants to develop a full lifestyle around health and wellness. So they do have similar goals and needs. They both want to develop better habits, things that they can actually stick to, nothing that feels too much like a quick fix dieting. Both of them have busy enough schedules where they need to be able to fit these things in as part of a balanced life. So from there, I was able to start creating some user flows. I wanted to make sure we had the least amount of clicks to get to all the main features of Balance. So our main user personas would be doing things like finding a new recipe to cook or possibly finding a previously favorited exercise. So here we did keep the clicks pretty simple to get to each of these categories. So then I began the initial designs. So I started with a quick sitemap. So over the design process, of course, some things were changed to better fit the user's needs, but this was our initial sitemap. And from there, I was able to start creating some mid-fidelity wireframes. So these are the basic screens that I made during this stage. After testing and refining, more screens were added to the prototype. So we did begin just with a basic home screen, some account features, and weekly tracker setting features. And then I did make just some basic screens for the cook category and the favorites of this category. And then also I wanted to have filters when they're trying to choose things from each category. So from here, I started usability testing. So of course, the main goal of our usability test was to evaluate the learnability of Balance. And I wanted to get feedback on the value of the app and the things that I already had included in it, see which things work well, which didn't. So in the current state at the mid-fidelity, I did 6 all moderated tests, some in person and some remote. And each were asked to go through a couple of tasks as we went through the app. So our main findings after going through these tasks with each participant, while most users did find the app valuable and simple enough to navigate through, we did find a couple of issues. So and a very important one was that users were not using the search bar in categories. They were only wanting to go straight to filters. Some users were slightly confused about the navigation bar. Most were assuming and did assume right, but them not having labels was a little bit confusing for some users. Not all users realized there was a favorites tab within each category, and pretty much all of the users wanted more incentives and motivations. So then I went on to refine my design, and I created a high fidelity prototype, and these are the mock-ups. So we did start with our basic onboarding, went on to the home screen. This is all just the home screen. I just wanted to highlight each of the cards for each of the categories. And then we move on to our basic account information, reminders, insights, tracker settings. We did add some challenges with friends for motivations, and then we have created for each category the main page and favorites page for each one. So through creating these high fidelity prototypes, I was able to create a style guide, including colors, typography, the icons and buttons, as well as including grids and layout information and illustrations. So the significant design changes that I made was a carousel was added to that home screen to make the progress tracker stand out. I added an insights. I wanted to give users access to longer lasting data. I did add the challenges with friends after most users during testing wanted a more social aspect for motivation. Achievement badges were also added for motivation. And both the challenges and achievements were added to the home screen, and we're keeping the trending content within each category instead. And a very important feature also was more prominent filters were added to each category for the searching. So through our prototype here, you can see we go through our onboarding, onto our home page, which just does show our weekly progress tracker here, challenges with friends. We have our achievements, and we go through each category. Each category does have a favorites tab as well, and each category also has their filters here where you can choose sounds, guided, different things. They're all catered to each category, where they will have their search results here. They can do a keyword search, and they can also find the trending meditations in case they're unsure of what they might be looking for. We also have our account information up here where they can see their insights. They can change their tracker settings as well to choose how many they would like to do for each week. And this is also where we have our challenges with friends. You can send challenges, choose which one you would like, and that does get sent to them. So main reflections I took. Balance was my first experience building an app and working on a UX project in general from start to finish. Learning the basics of Figma, getting comfortable with usability testing. I learned many things over the last about 6 months. That's about how long I've worked on this project. Important learnings for me. Labeling and organizing things every step of the way. That was something I didn't start doing till towards the end. And when I went back and labeled things, I did see how important that is to do that from the beginning. Usability testing was a favorite of mine. So important. It's very easy to get stuck on things that you might want on the app or not want, or might want something to look a certain way. And so doing usability testing and the A/B preference testing was really an important thing to learn. And using that to create the personas and flows and that sort of thing was a good reminder when you're veering off to go back to just those important basics and remember who you're building the app for. And finally, accessible design was very critical. I didn't learn much about it until towards the end. So when I went back and made those important changes, that was a big part for me. And I'm glad that I know more about it now. It's definitely something that I'll keep in mind for my early on designs. So that is the end of my case study. I hope you enjoyed that, and I appreciate you watching and listening. Thank you.